So today we're going to be installing some of the key components to the build. So first thing, we're going to be installing the CPU with the motherboard. We're also going to be installing the SSD as well as the RAM. Now this is the Aorus X570 Master Motherboard. This motherboard, of course, is one of the newer releases. It is PCIe 4 ready. So let's go ahead and open it up. So there's the main board. Do have some stickers and badges. We have an installation guide. User's manual. Got another badge right here, it just fell out of the booklet, I guess. And underneath we do have various cables. We do have some SATA cables. We do have the connectors for the power switches and so on. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. Other screws, and mainly this is for mounting your SSD and other components. Here's the board itself. Does have RGB here and here and here as well. Does have a built-in fan. This is new with most of the X570 boards that we're seeing coming out. Does have your SSD slots right here, and we're going to be installing one of those today. First, let's peel off some of these plastics. Here's our I/O in the back, guys. So we do have the antenna, Wi-Fi antenna. You have the CMOS reset, flash. You have USBs all over the place, 2 Ethernet ports, SPDIF for the optical audio, and you also have different connections for your audio. Here's the back, nice shield to keep everything nice and protected. The first thing we're going to install is the CPU. So this CPU, before, like I said, it is the 3900X from AMD. Brand new CPU. It does come with a cooling fan. We won't be using that, of course, because we're doing liquid cool, but let me just show you what's in the box. Here's the fan itself. Like I said, nice fan, decent fan, but won't be using it for this build. So before we install the CPU, one thing I want to point out, guys, is that you want to make sure the triangles are lined up. So if you look in the corner right here, you can see there's a triangle right there in the corner. But if you look right here, you can see there's a tiny triangle right there as well, and that's where you're going to line it up. Now when you do put this in, guys, you want to avoid forcing it in. It should just drop right in. Make sure it's secure, then you can go ahead and clip it in. All right, so we're going to take it out, holding it on the sides. Visual inspection, everything looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and release the lever right here on the board. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and line up the 2 triangles. There you go. So just fell in, guys. You can see it is secure. And we're going to go ahead and put this back down and clip it. And that's it for the CPU installation. Next, we're going to install our RAM. I went with 4 sticks of 8 gigabytes for a total of 32 gigs. Now these are RGB as well. Before we install the RAM, if we're installing 2 sticks instead of 4, you see that it does have preference. So you would install an A2 and B2 if you're only doing 2 sticks. But since I'm doing 4, it doesn't really matter that much. All right, we're going to go ahead and open 4. So we're going to look for the cutouts, and we're just going to give it a nice firm push, and it should go ahead and snap in. And same thing, you want to avoid touching any of the contacts if possible, guys. There we go. Nice and firm. It does take quite a bit of pressure to make sure that's in properly. All right, so we got our RAM installed. Next up, we're going to go ahead and install our SSD. This is the Aorus NVMe Generation 4 SSD. So super fast. This is a 1 terabyte drive. And this thing is a monster. It does come with its own heatsink, so I won't be able to put the actual SSD cover back on after this is installed. Do have a couple slots, 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to go ahead and install it in the top slot. So that pops off, and what I was saying is that if you do have a normal size SSD, this acts as a heatsink, so you'll just pull this off and place it on top after the installation. Before I do anything, I need to install a standoff to match the hole for this one. So just measuring it up, look like the standoff that I'm going to use is the 3rd one right here. So let's go ahead and we'll get that in. Then go ahead and line up the slots, drop it on, and now we're gonna go ahead and secure it. All right, so we got our screw. There we go, nice and secure. Now, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and install the motherboard in the case. But before we do that, we wanna make sure we have the standoffs in place. And what a standoff is basically this little screw. You can see it's very tiny, but it is important. So this will screw into your case like so. Basically allows your motherboard to be mounted not directly to the case, and that way you can avoid having shorts and other issues later on down the road. So two actually came pre-installed. Normally the case makers will have two in place already, and that will help you line everything up before you go ahead and install it. So I'm gonna get the standoffs installed, then I'm gonna put the motherboard, then I'm gonna go ahead and secure the motherboard. So Cooler Master went ahead and provided this socket for the standoff. So fits on, top is a Phillips head, and you go ahead and secure those. So let's go ahead and get them in. So I do have the standoffs installed, guys. A total of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, these two came pre-installed. So very important when you're putting this in, guys, make sure your shield is lined up with the cutout in your back. Now, previous motherboards, they used to send the IO shield separately, but newer motherboards, they will go ahead and just have them mounted on the actual board itself. So let's go ahead and get it in. All right, so everything's secured. I'm gonna go ahead and use these screws that were provided in the case by Cooler Master. So we're gonna install 9 of these.